Authoritarian governments and autocratic governments are on the rise. 72% of the world right now is living in an autocratic or authoritarian government system. Don't take my word for it. Here's a map showing where authoritarian governments live or are located throughout the world. Look at that. Here's an article reflecting that news. You can check out demofinland.org. Another article reflecting that information. Do your own research on this. But what that is reflecting, what that information indicates, is that what we're seeing happen here in America, is not at all by happenstance. It's not a coincidence, but it's reflective of what's happening on a global scale. Sorry, I had to move that thing out the way. But it's reflective of what's happening on a global scale. And we talk a lot about wanting to move towards revolution and things like that. But if we want to move towards revolution, we need to be mindful of what that looks like and what does revolution. We need to start thinking about defining revolution. Okay, what does revolution really look like? We can talk about revolution, looking like something, where we're, fighting back against the regime and doing something like what we saw happen in Nepal, what we're seeing happen in France and stuff like that. We can try to bring something like that here to America. It would be beautiful to see. It would be really dope to see something like that. But realistically, what we've built here in America is a system where folks are comfortable, people are complacent. I don't know if we'll ever get to a point where we will actually see people resist in that kind of way. Even when we build and create these kinds of like protests and like these, like resistive like systems and stuff like that, we don't see people resist in a way that's like that concerted kind of effort. The CIA has really fucking did their big one when it came to when it comes to propaganda. They have done their fucking big one. And we talk a lot about like that the CIA has gone away in the same sense, we don't see them show up like they did with COINTELPRO and dismantling systems like they did with the Black Panther Party and things like that. But they're still operating and they're still moving. We just don't see them. They're a lot more discreet, right? They're moving in a way, sight unseen, right? And propaganda is real. Propaganda is real. Think about 22 Jump Street, right? They can come in and use social media as a tool to engage people, use funny memes, meme culture, reels, TikTok videos, whatever the case is, to engage people in a funny way, send a message, like sow a seed, get people to stay complacent, remain compliant with the system and stuff like that. And so I don't know if we'll see something like that happen here in America, but what we can do is start to build systems like cooperative systems. Okay, and maybe we will see something like that. But I do believe as well in building, like when we talk about peaceful protests can look like building mutual aid systems. Peaceful protests can look like building co-ops. Okay, especially when we're seeing, in addition to the 72% of the world moving into these authoritative and autocratic government systems and things like that, and declining into fascism, right? In addition to the U.S., right? As a community, or here we can start to build communities, okay? Build micro communities. The U.S. capitalism, one of the byproducts of capitalism is the dissolution and the dismantling of like village mindsets and community building. We need to get back to community building. right? We need village, we need people, we need relationships with people, and we need to start building mutual aid systems, mutual aid networks, and co-ops. We need to see that happen here in America. And I think that that's one of the only things that will really and truly start to save us. Our economy is crashing here in America. The economy is devolving into nothing. All right. There are some people who are thriving right now under this presidency, and that's great. I love it for them. I love it for y'all, whatever the case is. But there are lots and lots and lots of people who are struggling right now. Okay. Lots of people who are struggling right now. And so finding ways to build community and collaborate with one another, share resources, share skills is going to be the way forward. That is going to be the one way that we will survive and thrive under this regime. Especially when we see our leaders doing things like calling the generals, 800 plus generals from all over the U.S. just to fat shame them and tell them, like, we're going to kick you out if you're a female, if you're black, if you complain about sexual assault and all those sorts of things. Like, we as community need to start building community amongst ourselves. Okay, if you're a veteran, if you're, a person of color, whatever the case is, we need to start building community. All right, I'm going to be hosting a class. If you are a follower of mine, I'm going to be hosting a class. It'll be a virtual course. The neighborhood preparedness plan, building those neighborhood preparedness plan. And it's all about mutual aid building and creating mutual aid networks, building community, building those co-ops. Right now, it'll be towards the end of this month. Okay, tap in with me. All right, we need to do that now. Now more than ever, we need that sort of stuff. Okay. We need each other. Again, like I said, the world as a whole is devolving into autocracy, and that's not just what I'm saying. That's what we're seeing. Okay. The government is shut down, right? We're seeing threats, all sorts of stuff happen. We've got to be mindful and strategic in the way that we're moving. All right. Continue to protest, continue to show up. No kings in America, right? Continue to show up, continue to protest, whether that's through social media, whether that's showing up at protests, whether that's through your dollars, whatever the case is, whether that's through strikes, whatever the case is, show up. We need to protest. We need to continue to do those sorts of things. But we also need each other. Community is everything. All right. That's all I got for you. Peace and love.